Am I the asshole for telling a spooky story to my young grandkids? Last week, my wife and I invited our daughter, son-in-law, and their 2 children, ages 5 and 4, to our home for dinner. We live down a long, winding driveway in a neighboring county, and our living room overlooks a large forest. This evening was particularly cloudy and windy, which was making the house creak. We all ate and had a nice time, and then the adults moved into the living room to chat while the children played in the other room. As the evening wore on, my daughter and son-in-law said that it was getting late and they needed to get going soon. But I insisted on telling my grandkids a spooky story. I love ghost stories at their age, and I remember many a campout where my father told these sort of tales to my brother and me. Well, I turned out all the lights and lit some candles. The wind was really howling now, and it set the scene perfectly. I was about midway through the story when a mischievous thought entered my head. The character in the story was lost in the wood and heard mysterious sounds. I whispered. The air was all of a sudden very still, and the man wandered through the dark forest, like the one out there. I gestured to the woods behind our home. The kids had their backs to the woods, and as they turned around, I banged my hands hard on the wooden table. The kids shrieked, and the younger ones started to cry as they ran into their parents' arms. Everyone gave me a dirty look as I howled with laughter. I tried continuing the story, but I had a wicked case of the giggles. Long story short, my daughter and son-in-law turned on all the lights, and he said, I think Grandpa's had enough fun. Time for us to go. He was staring right at me and scowling. I couldn't believe what a poor sport he had been. I was just trying to have a little fun after all. After they had left, my wife tore into me. She said that what I had done would be cruel with anyone's kids, but with my own grandkids, it was beyond the pale. I told her that she was overreacting and not managing her emotions in a proper manner. I also reminded her that the weather conditions that night were perfect for such a story. She went to bed in a huff. Well, this week, I got a call from my daughter that the kids haven't been sleeping well since I told that story, and she thinks it would be best for them not to visit for a while. I was stunned. I couldn't believe that such an innocuous moment from so many nights ago was still sticking in my grandkids' craws. I just want my daughter to see things from my point of view, but she seems blinded by her own self-righteousness and would rather inflict emotional damage. My wife says that I need to apologize, but I feel like someone else should be apologizing to me. I feel bad that we won't have our fun dinners anymore, but I don't feel like I'm to blame even a little bit for the story. Am I the asshole?
Kind of. Yeah. I think so.
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, like, he did it all in good fun, but once they start crying, like, you know you fucked up.
Okay, but like as a parent, and you give your dad permission to say a spooky story, how do you think a spooky story is going to end?
True.
Like, your kids are going to be scared at the end of the spooky
true.
story. If you didn't want your kids to be scared of the spooky story, then you should tell your dad, no, we don't want them hearing any spooky stories.
That's true.
Regardless of if he banged or not, I feel like that's part of the spooky story experience.
That's true.
So I don't know. He's rated the asshole. Everybody's commenting, you're the asshole. Yeah, but like one of the top comments, yeah, you're the asshole. I get you're just trying to have a bit of fun, but they're small kids, and scaring the crap out of them like that isn't cool. Knowing how it's impacted those kids and that they're not sleeping well, you, as the adult, should be trying to make right instead of acting like the aggrieved party here.
Yeah.
You tried to play a joke, it went bad. Now act like an adult and make this right for the sake of your grandchildren.
Yeah, I will say.
Yeah, sorry.
I will say he doesn't deserve an apology. Like what?
No.
What does he want an apology for?
He definitely deserves an apology. Listen, bro, no, he definitely deserves to give an apology.
Oh, give an apology.
Bro,
but he said he wanted an apology.
Yeah, I don't
get
that. I don't get that. I don't think you're the asshole. You're a little bit of the asshole because you did the banging, which was more than the parents expected. But at the end of that's the best part.
That is, yeah.
The spooky story is giving them a little bit of a scare, kind of turning it into, that kind of thing. So as the parent, you give your dad permission, you give grandpa permission to tell the kids a scary story. You got to be okay that your kids are going to be spooked afterwards.
I feel like he's only the asshole because of how he's handling it afterwards.
I would agree with that.
He's not the asshole for saying a scary story and doing the banging. I feel like the banging isn't even like...
You still got to apologize for scaring the kids. You
Yeah.
had the intention of scaring them, and that's fine, and it's all in good fun, but you got to apologize. You know they're going to be upset. You're giving the apology because you're Canadian, and it's the sake of giving the apology. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm so sorry you're scared. But
Yeah.
you still have to be sincere with your apology.
Yes.
You still have to be, I'm sorry, it's just a story.
And just reaffirm that it's fake, like...
Yeah, you got to help them get over the scare. Yeah. So, is that on theme for you?
Not really, but...
It was spooky.
Not really, but...
Listen, it was about spooky.
All right.
I told Teresa I had some Am I the Asshole and she's like, how can you have Am I the Assholes? I'm like, we need something to give us a laugh.
I don't think
Because
so.
I've had way too many scares.
I don't think so.
I'm shivering over here. I've had too many. I needed to break it up a little bit. That was good.